Indeed not. It's not the image that organizers or authorities were hoping for, but these are two separate incidents that happened in the last week. The first was on Sunday, a woman allegedly gang raped by five different people who came into a kebab shop for rescue. And then the second incident happened on Monday, where two TV workers apparently were attacked in order to have their materials stolen. Sadly, these incidents are things that cannot be expected to happen when big sports events like this, which attract a lot of media attention, come to a big city. Of course, in terms of the first incident, that has not yet at least been declared in link with the Olympics. The second, however, obviously, it is assumed that the attackers were after their equipment because they were TV personnel. And that, like I said, sadly, it is to be expected, but security is ramped up and authorities are doing really everything they can to make sure that people are safe. As for the Australian crew, they have been advised to not go out on their own, to not leave the Olympic Village on their own, and not leave the Olympic Village wearing their uniforms to not attract attention to themselves.
Yeah. You know, it has been an Olympics where there have been threats made more broadly about terror attacks and attacks. So it's for a city like Paris, which is normally teeming with people, it must have been just such a huge challenge.
Indeed, it is a massive security headache for authorities, especially because they have decided to take the games out of the stadiums and into the city. And this has resulted in a lot of different makeshift stadiums popping up throughout Paris in open public spaces. The same for the opening ceremony, this iconic, unprecedented opening ceremony, which is meant to be taking place on the River Seine. It's the first time that an opening ceremony will be taking place outside of a stadium, the first time it will be taking place on a river, but obviously it's incredibly hard for security personnel to sort of secure such a long area. It's meant to be 6 kilometers long, a parade that's 6 kilometers long, and it's really, really hard for authorities to sort of patrol such a huge area, which is in the public space.
Yeah, it's amazing. Give us a sense, you know, as a Parisian, Katrine, you're living there, what is happening for you as locals? What is life going to be like for you over the next couple of weeks?
Well, already security parameters have been in place for 6 days since last weekend. And actually, it's really making life hard for Parisians here. Why? Because half of the city is practically closed off. So the River Seine, which I was just talking about, runs all throughout Paris. It kind of like separates Paris into two. And now a whole entire area has been set up around the River Seine where no one can go. There are only a few bridges open so that people can cross over. So going from one place in Paris to another can't be really much of a hassle. Furthermore, metro stations have been closed, and in order to go to certain places which are close to different sports sites, or for example, to get close to the Seine, you need a QR code. And in order to get such a QR code, you need to sign up online, and you need to prove that you have a purpose in this specific area. That can be a doctor's appointment or a restaurant reservation. But getting such a QR code really takes a while. I got my own, and it took 4 days. So if you have a restaurant reservation tonight, it's very likely that you won't be able to go.
And to your point, I think a lot of restaurateurs who normally benefit from the boom of people coming, people are sort of almost giving up on that side of life, and they're going to suffer.
They're definitely going to suffer. Already now there have been emerged multiple videos online with restaurateurs who complain that half of their evening reservations have been canceled, or many of their other reservations just simply don't show up because they're not able to get into these areas. It is indeed very complicated for restaurateurs who are in these areas, but let's hope that once the Olympics actually get underway and the tourists arrive, that they will be able to have a little boom in business, because that's obviously what they have been expecting.
And what they want is that Parisian experience. I mean, it looks beautiful behind you, not loads of people. I'm hoping there is some excitement about the fact that the games have finally arrived.
of course, there's excitement. Of course, it's also a source of pride for the French people and for the French authorities that we will be hosting these games. But at the same time, it is also a massive prestige project for politicians. And I think among the public, people are really aware of this. And of course, the Paris organizers have tried to make these games different. They've tried to make them environmentally friendly. They've tried to make them more accessible for everyday people. And they're trying to sort of change the way you host Olympics, which of course also at some point brings some excitement for French people who are able to participate, but maybe for Parisians and other Francilians who are living in the area, can be a bit of a nuisance because, well, it's hard to get to work, it's hard to take the metro, you need QR codes, etc. So I think excitement, but also a bit of annoyance.
A mixed bag indeed. Well, I hope it goes well, and thanks so much for joining us.